How does mental health affect different genders? If you find people opening up at the first session, they were at the ticking point. One might ask, as a man, how can I support a fellow man with this mental health issue? Even before knowing about mental health and becoming a practitioner, have you ever told a boy, like, big boys don't cry, stop crying? It's real, it's raw, it's rare, it's relevant.
Back then, I was in primary. Yes, I told my bro. Yeah, because of the I was talking to. Yeah, it was my bro.
He wasn't really at home. He usually comes at home on weekends. So I texted him like, hey, just remember I love you, bro. And then he's like, hey, why are you really gay?
It's okay to not be okay, but it is not okay remaining not okay. Exactly.
That's
I
good.
see you're good. There is no health without mental health.
Take care of your mental health. Take care of your mind, and remember, your mind matters. Take care of yourself.
No tear ever falls down, down, down. In your shoes, I feel sadness in your heart. Keep it inside, cause men don't cry, they roar.
Why are men less likely to seek therapy? Why are women more often diagnosed with anxiety? And where do the non-binary and the remaining genders fit in this mental health conversation? Hello guys, as always I'm your host with the most, they call me Timothy, and this is another episode of Just a Pod where we keep it real, raw and relevant. And today on set I have a guest with me, but as usual I'm not going to take away the juice, but I'll let him introduce himself. So karibu sana.
Thank you, bro.
Okay.
My name is Joseph Macharia. I'm a mental health practitioner by profession and also mind skills coach. I do engage young people and adolescents on matters to do with mental health. I also matters to do with sexual reproductive health, but bigger percentages on mental health because of my lived experience and also because of my experience.
Yeah. Just coming there in a little bit. I wanted to name this session Mind Skills. I hope you don't mind.
I don't mind.
So just call it Mind Skills.
Mind skills.
Yeah. And actually you'll send me the picture that you took with the t-shirt. I think it has... Or I need to get a t-shirt.
Yeah, you should, but I'll share the name with you, the photo with you, with the one that I'm wearing, the brand,
that has the logo,
of the Mind Skills. Exactly, I will do so. Yep.
So hiyo mambo ya t-shirt tuongee behind the tent.
Hiyo ni ya nyuma ya tent. Hapa hivi acha tufanye business yenye tuleta.
If you are the viewer na unataka pia Mind Skills utaiona kali. So Bwana Joseph, let us dive straight into the topic of the day. Today we wanted to talk about mind skills, yeah? And I wouldn't mind if you would indulge us and the audience a little bit on your journey.
Okay. Yeah. So like I said, my name is Joseph Macharia. I come from Lunga. Okay. That is an informal settlement in Makadara sub-county. Yeah. So I've been born and brought up in an informal settlement, so I understand the kind of challenges that adolescent and young people they normally face in their upbringing. So you maybe just in a nutshell, when I was after high school, I remember there was a time I went to do computer studies. Okay. At a certain organization that I don't want to mention. Okay. Then I could see girls being called outside. They went to do other capacity building sessions, and yet for us boys we were left
segregated.
Exactly. So I started asking myself, why are they segregating us? Why are they feeling like we are not fitting for maybe to be also brought on board? Then I understood. Then afterwards it was about these menstrual hygiene sessions, these things to do with the girls. But then I was like, anything to do with girls, also boys should be brought on board because a community entails boys.
It should be inclusive.
Exactly. Meaningful, inclusive, and inclusivity also to be brought on board. Yeah. So then afterwards, because of that, I lost my sister, my younger sister, Yeah, it's okay. It's life. So
It's life, but it's not life.
exactly.
As humans, we have to fail.
Exactly. So I can say it was through that juncture that I felt the need to, like, because the loss, the grief, to me it was so bad because it affected also my studies, because to an extent that I felt like also like ending my life. I attempted suicide twice, and I was like, anytime I'm attempting, I could hear an inner voice telling me, don't. Remember your mom, remember the journey, remember your...
Let me cut you short, because I'm feeling like now it's easier for you now, the way you're talking about you attempted suicide and you're smiling.
Yes.
So it's like, how did you overcome that thought?
I got support. My mom referred me. You know where I come from, there are many organizations that are within our periphery. So my mom saw it is an alarming thing, and I was so withdrawn. I had isolated myself in the house. I wasn't like doing any kind of thing. You know, I have hobbies in many areas, but by then I was just indoors, moving movies 24/7 on my phone. Then I had to like say, okay, enough is enough. I'm not okay. I need help. I need help. You know, this thing of masculinity we ought to, and also stereotyping like men.
Just hold it there, because I feel like that's our sweet spot.
Yes.
We'll come to that.
So my mom, I had to see a mental health practitioner, a counselor. I did over 8 sessions, and I was okay. I could speak up, share my feelings. How am I feeling? If I'm not okay, now there were some techniques that were taught. I was taught on how maybe to relax. We call them relaxation techniques, mindfulness, positive self-affirmations. Those really boosted my self-esteem and to see things in a bigger picture, so that at least I couldn't just focus on my current state. Yep.
And by the way, I was to ask that as my next question. Like, why do you think men find it hard to share with a fellow man about their mental health condition? Is it because our society has normalized that big boys don't cry? Or what is it with men?
Oh, okay. Just leave alone even the community, but let's narrow it down, cascade it down to the family setting. You find, like, for me, even my dad has never taught me about opening up. I have never even seen him, even when he's going through hardships or hurdles of life, like engaging me, like, okay, my son, I'm going through this. Maybe can we brainstorm? Can we maybe bring our minds together? So exactly. So you see, even before even it goes to the community, let's take it to the family setting. Even because of our upbringing, like in my family setting, I have never before then, like there was nothing like of my dad like having a man-to-man session. Yes, it manifested, but it was more of like, you are a man. You ought to be tough.
You keep it inside.
Keep it inside. Man up, style up, pull up.
You're the head of the family. How will you run your family if you start crying and talking about the issues to deal with mental health?
Because now my dad was feeding me things that he was also fed by my grandpa. So you see, it's like a
carrying down the generation.
Exactly. So for me, I saw now it's like cutting the chain. It was like a chain like a food chain. So for me, I felt like the need of like being different. And how can I be different? Is by embracing mental health. And whenever you are not okay, you say you are not okay, because we normally say in mental health, it's okay to not be okay, but it is not okay remaining not okay. Exactly. I see you're good.
I feel like I was to say this, like why can't our society just normalize mental health like just any other physical illness? Like, you know, the first step of solving a problem is defining what the problem is. You can't jump to the second stage or to finding a solution without you first defining what your problem is. And I know you've been in too many classes of design thinking and so forth, and you know all these things. So how do you feel like, on to my next question, how does mental health affect different genders? And which is the most gender that has been affected according to your own perception? not the studies?
So according to my own perception, I'll say men.
Men.
Yes.
Okay.
It is because most of the interventions they normally come to our community, they are tailored for women. Girls,
not men.
maybe the key populations, the LGBTQ plus. But you find for men, or maybe for like an inclusive maybe intervention that maybe gonna bring on board maybe adolescent boys, adolescent girls, adolescent also young people, also they are all of them to be like brought on board because they are part and parcel of the community of or the society. So you find these men, what do they after maybe they see the community is hostile, the community doesn't offer a serene environment for them maybe to thrive, for them even to open up, for them even to speak. So what do? They form a cocoon of like-minded individuals, but they don't have a positive perception about maybe their tomorrow. So what do? They indulge maybe in like drugs, substance abuse, maybe in
crime. Definitely. That's the thing we see on a daily basis.
Exactly.
And it's because they think, sorry for cutting you short, it's because they see like they lack purpose, they lack sense of direction. And I feel like it's a very bad thing because now when a person loses a sense of purpose, he's an animal.
Exactly.
Definitely. My pastor used to say, a man without the spirit of the Lord in him is like a beast. The same applies to a person who doesn't have a purpose.
Okay. Because purpose gives you a sense of direction. Because the moment you have a purpose, you know, even when you evaluate yourself, when you assess yourself, you can be able to understand maybe what kind of steps am I supposed to take? What am I supposed to do? What are some of the things that I'm supposed maybe to cut? Where should I maybe invest more? Where do I have any kind of maybe deficiency that are maybe I feel like I ought to improve? Maybe like, let me say, for example, like maybe communication skills, maybe assertiveness, maybe about discernment. So you see, the moment you lose your purpose, that's why you find these men, they can find purpose in the society the moment we be intentional about them. The moment we tailor, exactly, the moment we tailor interventions that gonna also bring them on board. But the moment we say, I'm not underestimating or undermining them, but it is because these people are part and parcel of the community. We can't segregate them. We can't talk anything even about menstrual hygiene, because these men will be one day dads. They'll be one day fathers. They are brothers. They are husbands.
And sorry to say, some of them,
Yes.
with the current economic status, some of them might remain single dads,
Yes.
single fathers.
Exactly.
How are they going to handle the menstrual health of that kid? Maybe they have a daughter. How are they going to handle her health, her menstrual hygiene health, without prior knowledge of the SRHR and so forth? And that brings me to the next question. Now that we've talked enough about men and how the society should include them, because we see like there are many organizations that are dealing with women, like even Wangu Kanja and so forth, and other small Akilidada. And now it's not all about, I think, according to me, it's not all about forming an organization for men, because we usually have men conferences. But I know some of the things they discussed there. But coming to the main point, it's not all about forming these organizations. It's forming these organizations with a purpose, with a thought that we are going to do a meaningful engagement.
Exactly.
We are going to impact these people. And to my next question now, let's talk about the ladies.
Yeah.
Why do you think like ladies most of the time, they're usually diagnosed with anxiety, unlike men?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so?
Okay, so for ladies, more so when they give birth, there's something that we call postpartum depression. Okay. So postpartum depression is when it normally happens after maybe they give birth. For example, it is because of my what I've seen in the community. Maybe a lady will feel maybe I've gone, maybe the shape, the figure that I had, now it is no longer there. Maybe the breast, because now I'm breastfeeding. Yeah. Maybe the financial support, maybe that you felt, maybe my person X isn't now supporting me after I gave birth. Maybe you wanted to give birth to a boy, now you give birth to a girl. What are you gonna have? Postpartum depression. Another one, it is a bigger chunk of it. It normally comes when you don't get the support from your partner, or maybe when you lack the resources or maybe the fundamental things that gonna help you maybe to bring up this child.
So it's all about emotional support and some to an extent financial
Financial
support.
support and also psychosocial support,
Psychosocial
because
support,
it is a journey. So you find they don't accept that phase that they are in. So that's why you see whenever maybe a woman has given birth, they accept that state. That's why we normally talk about self-care, so that even when you have given birth, you find some, to an extent, maybe they like you live yourself that way. Maybe you don't even maybe comb your hair. You don't feel like even that's why you can find maybe
So your motor skills, you're no longer in control of your motor skills.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So you find a woman is so focused to the child, then you forget about yourself. And the reverse is true. It can happen. Maybe you're focused on yourself. Now you are forgetting the child. Exactly.
That's why child services come and take away the kid. Okay.
Because, for example, the guy left you, isn't responsible, but when you look at the child, is clearly identical. They are so identical with the father. So the moment you see the child, what normally comes to your mind? The father. And who is the father? You say the one who neglected you. That's why you hear certain ladies or maybe women saying men are XYZ. So you see, you start framing men because of maybe one person.
So you put all the men in one basket.
In one basket, and you name them, you label them.
You label them.
Exactly.
Now, this stress is an automatic stress that comes once they've given birth. So it's like in the cycle of nature, in the cycle of giving birth. So there's no way they can escape it.
There is a way they not. I don't want to call it an escape route, but what maybe they can do. For example, if at all maybe you have a responsible man, and the moment you give birth to a child, a bouncing baby boy or a girl, and they are there for you, trust you me, there is no postpartum depression.
That comes. Okay.
So when we talk about postpartum depression, it isn't like about labor pain. Labor pain will come. That's automatic. But for postpartum depression, it normally when maybe there is no support.
Okay. So, there might be. How about in this instance? There might be help. There might be support, but the perception that the lady had before giving birth. Like other ladies, when they're going to give birth, they think like the man has a lot of financial resources and is holding back on some of them, or they think life is going to be better after giving birth because they gave birth maybe due to peer pressure and so forth. They didn't have a concise plan in place. But far from that, I don't want to sound biased. So, on to our next question. I just want us to talk about challenging now the stigma. What are the common myths that you've heard that are going around about mental health?
About mental health, you know, in this month it's men's mental health. It is our month.
I saw that on your status.
Yes, it's mental health month. It's our month. It's our month to debunk the myth and the misconceptions. So one of the greatest myths is about men ought not to cry. Men ought not maybe to speak out. The moment you speak out, inasemekana we ni mama. The moment you cry, kona umama, like you.
Big boys don't cry.
Big boys don't cry. Big boys don't open up. Like you muscle up. Then it's like you hide it inside. But the moment you continue, it will pile up. Then it will burst out.
So then I feel like definitely this session is timely.
Actually, it is very timely because of the month that we are in, and also because of the data. Like, let me give you an example. It says 1 out of 4 people that you normally meet, one of them is depressed. Or maybe not mentally okay. 1 out of 4. So if you meet 1, 2, 3, 4 people, 1 out of those 4 people
is depressed.
And who are the most people that are depressed?
Men.
And who are the most people that commit suicide?
Men.
It is men.
Have you ever experienced gender-based stigma in your place of work?
Not in my place of work, but it was on another engagement that I was doing far from Nairobi, and I experienced that. It was, you know, certain organization, maybe policies, they work different, and the way they are tailored, and the moment you go there, you feel like you want to blend in as per the way they are, because the moment you come with your own perception, you come with your own ideologies, they feel you want to sound smart, you want to sound like you different, unique, stylistic, I don't
Bougie.
know. Exactly. But the moment, but but the moment you go there, then you are like, I'm not opposing your point, but I have a different approach or maybe a different idea. Then you find they say, oh, we can't listen to a junior person. Or do you know how many years I've been in the field, in the industry, still over 20 years? Or you just came, you found us, listen, sit back and I'm like, I can't sit because I feel like I'm burning because I represent people.
And
so,
you are young also, you want
I'm
your
young.
ideas to
So anything
be
to do with a
heard.
young person, why don't you listen to a young person? Because we normally say nothing for you without you. Nothing for young people
without young people.
So you are speaking about young people, you are 50 years old, and I'm a young person, and I'm telling you the things that we are going through, then you are like, no, I'm the one who know. Are you me?
Actually, this one reminds me of recently we heard of a Gen Z president at 72. So what do you think like our education institution or our economic institutions, our health institutions can do in order to curb this menace of mental health and to also control the stigma?
So I love what you said. Like where I come from, we have what we call Sinai Rehabilitation Center. It is just a structure that is there. We have workers, healthcare workers, but it isn't operational. Like even if you want to see maybe a psychiatrist or maybe a counselor, impossible.
But people are getting paid.
People are being paid over there, but it's just a structure by the county government. But it isn't operational. No services that are being rendered there.
So in other words, it's just a shell company.
It is a shell. So I think that should be done maybe by the government. Number one, to the Ministry of Education. It is by incorporating mental health. Like, for example, in the CBC, we should have a component of mental health so that a kid, you see, we are talking about mind skills. So mind skills, we are spearheading. It is spearheaded by LVCT Health. I'm being there as a mind skills coach. So what we normally do is we partner. The government is like a stakeholder in whatever that we are doing. So in liaison with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health. So for the Ministry of Education, because we are doing it in the schools, so that we can bring this component, so that whenever you have a kid like he or she is 9 years old, they can be able to attest or maybe detect, Timo, I'm not okay. Timo, I feel like I'm depressed.
How can I be helped?
How can I be helped? But you find these kids of ours, they are so focused and so like channeling all their thoughts and everything to the studies, and they are forgetting about themselves. So you find, because we have that component about PE, the physical exercise.
Actually, it was totally removed from the timetable.
Now you see.
It's no longer there.
So now that we are trying to revive it, so that they can see the impact of it. Because at first, the mind skills started at South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, then came to Kenya. So it is because of the data that we saw over there that on how the kind of impact it has brought to these kids. So the moment we talk to the government and for them to be like a stakeholder, now they see the necessity, the needfulness of this kind of an approach, because it is sport-based. We are using sport to pass information as per mental health is concerned. Now, to the Ministry of Health is now whereby, like in our facility, I was talking to you like an hour ago, I told you where I was volunteering in another health facility. So in that health facility, we didn't have a counselor. We didn't have a psychiatrist in Makadara sub-county. I was volunteering in a Lunga Health Center. We started doing advocacy. You know, advocacy, you can't reap the results after maybe like 1 year. Advocacy takes time because you're dealing with policies.
Effect,
Exactly. And you're dealing with...
and thanks to us.
Exactly.
And thanks to some other people of whom names shall not be mentioned.
Exactly.
That we are actually in the policy world nowadays. We can be able to say, like, we can help other people to curate policies.
Exactly.
So I think you joining that center also, and the coursework that we did is quite timely to your work that you're doing on the ground. Let me ask you something. Have you really this week, have you asked anybody around your area or even on transit how they are feeling?
Yes.
What was their response?
They were like, the person that the person I asked, the first response was, I'm okay. Then I'm like, it's okay not to be okay. Then the guy was almost crying. It was in a Matatu Super Metro. So I told the guy, it's okay not being okay. today may you have a lovely, early in the morning, everyone is so mindful about maybe their place of work where you are going. So you're not even concerned, exactly. So you're not even concerned about the person sitting next to you. And maybe they have never in their entire life been affirmed. They have never even maybe been told, hey, by the way, you look good. I love your shoe. Hey, I love your hat. I love you. You look awesome. You look sharp. Hey, that contract gonna go through. That deal, you're gonna nail it on the head. So you see, the guy was like, it's like he felt like maybe I'm God sent. Then I realized, don't withhold certain positive elements or statements from people. The moment you feel like maybe you want to appreciate somebody or maybe applaud them for whatever maybe they have done, to you might sound it is a minimal or maybe a small thing, but to them on how maybe they perceive it, it will mean the world to them.
And I'm really thankful for this session, because I feel like those small compliments, they add up. They're really powerful. To you, they might seem something small and of little concern, but with time, the person that you just told them, it can work miracles. It can work wonders, because it goes here.
Exactly.
And when it goes here, the person here feels relaxed. Even without money, even without the burdens of the world, he feels like, there's somebody somewhere caring that I don't know of. So I feel like, inaweza fanya destabilize the stigma.
Boosting also when you do that, it can boost their self-esteem. The moment it's like decongesting stigma or maybe suppressing it, and also boosting their self-esteem. Because now the moment you do it to them, they gonna trust me. It will be a chain. They gonna also practice that, and that if you affirm anyone, trust me, also it is therapeutic to you.
So it's going to be like a ripple effect.
Exactly.
Once you've told somebody else, he tells somebody else, she tells somebody else, and the effect goes a long way. That's why we were told, like, don't aim to help too many people, just help one soul. I remember this is a resident lawyer at Power 254. He's called James Wanjeri. He saw we were being incubated on a community level at Power 254, talking about how can we help the communities that we've come from, and he saw how really passionate we were. He singled me out and asked me, like, I know I've been seeing your podcast and so forth. I can see the passion in you to help your community on matters financial inclusion and literacy program. But let me ask you something. Do you really have the funds or the resources to help that community, where if worse come to us, if the rubber meets the road, can you really help that community? And I was like, I can't. Because why? Because I don't have the funds, or I don't have resources to help the community. So it's really about you helping yourself first before helping the others. But it's not, to others it might sound selfish. It isn't.
Exactly.
The same applies to you now, telling that person, asking that person, how was your day? How are you feeling today? Now, you don't need to be selfish with that, because now you can be selfish with that, and that person was the other person who maybe might meet with some other person that you know somewhere else, and then they ask them also, how are you feeling today? Are you okay? Yeah. And the narrative goes a long way. So I feel like mental health is timely. Yeah. This podcast is timely. Mind skills is timely, because we have a mind skills trainer on board. Yeah. And I was to ask you now this question. I believe I asked you at the beginning of the session. What do you feel like the world would be if we normalized mental health like just any other physical health or physical disease? Now, instead of just saying this is a mental health disease, it has nothing to do with us. So why can we just adopt it like any other physical illness?
Number one, 0 suicide cases. Okay. 0. We will never hear, the moment we embrace, the moment we see the vitality, the moment we see the necessity, the moment we see the needfulness of doing mental health interventions in our society, the moment we have certain policies that gonna speak about mental health. Like, let me give you an example. I can't quote, I think penal code something, to something. It was stating this way. It was saying, if at all you attempt suicide and you don't die, you're gonna be arrested and be taken. We were like, people are attempting to that because they are not mentally okay. So what is the remedy or the solution? It is here.
Yeah, you can't take them to a jail cell.
You are not doing them any good.
Them.
So when we talk about mental health, let me touch this just on a bit. When you talk about mental health, what should come to your mind is BET, B-E-T, or maybe the triangle. The first, the apex, we write B, behavior. Downward here, E, emotions. Here, T for thoughts. That is mental health. Simple. Behavior, emotions, and thoughts. The moment you tamper with someone's behavior, their thoughts, their emotions, it will trigger. Exactly. I normally call it when you go to the World Health Organization on that toolkit for mental health, it's called HUDAS. It talks about the triangle of mental health.
The triangle
of mental health. Simple. Behavior, emotions, and thoughts. The moment I have negative thoughts, my behavior, my emotions will change. The moment I have certain thoughts or maybe emotions, it will affect the others. So you see, they go hand in hand. It's like leaving, we normally say leaving no one behind. Leave no one behind. Leave no one behind. So you see.
And just don't do it. Do it meaningfully. I'll come back to that point, and I know you totally understand it when I say do it meaningfully. And I want to attribute this to Dr. Maureen Cialo. If by any chance she'll see this, she's an adjunct faculty at Strathmore University Business School. She told us whenever you're doing anything, even if it's an engagement in the community, either a civic engagement or a political engagement, do it meaningfully, not because you are aiming for money, not because you have an end result in mind, but because you just want to do it. Yeah? And I feel like these organizations, now let's talk about the truth. Let's keep it bare. These organizations that are helping women are really not helping women. Okay? And that's why you find some ladies back in our informal settlements, they are messed up because these organizations come with a promise of helping women. At the end, they were just looking for data, the signature, the name, and then they go and seek for more grants or more funds or more donors. But at the core, kwa ground, vitu ni different. The lady was given maybe 500 shillings or 1,000 shillings. And the talk wasn't even that deep. It was just shallow. The lady or the victim lady who has been affected knows more than the facilitator, not because she has learned, but because she's lived the experience. Now she needs a helping hand. She's heard of this organization. The organization came to ground. It didn't work. It didn't engage with them meaningfully. What it did is, it was after data. And that's why at this point, I just want to say, thank you to Dr. Maureen Cialo from the Strathmore Business School for telling us in everything that we do, we have to do it meaningfully. As we are closing in, let's just preview on some little things that I feel like they are key and we should continue talking about them. Even before knowing about mental health and becoming a practitioner. Have you ever told a boy, like, big boys don't cry, stop crying? It's real, it's raw, it's rare, it's relevant.
Back then, I was in primary. Yes, I told my bro. Yeah, because of the heart. I was talking to, yeah, it was my bro. Yeah, it was my bro. And it was Faustin Wamai, tukiwa mtaa. I was in primary, I think class 8. Then, he was, I think, in class 4 back then. So nimemwacha na miaka 4. So back then it was also another grief. So during that grief ndo mimi bado nimejikausha hapo hivyo. Then he was there, he was younger, he couldn't like fathom this. Then I told him, we are men. Let's stand up for our mom. Let's show her that we are men. We don't cry. We don't show our we are not feminine. Sisi wa mama.
It's not your fault.
Exactly. So you see, the younger me.
Even the Bible said the sins of the fathers shall be unto the children up to the 4th generation. So you might think it was you, but we need to really blame those ancestors. But I'd really attest to that because you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Now the you now knows, and it's better if you go and tell him like, look here, brother, I know I said a few things. Specifically, I said this and this, but I understand it was not okay.
Yes.
So I'm sorry. It does something else, something different totally. Have you ever dismissed a woman as being too emotional?
No.
Even before?
Nah.
Yawe kata mara mbili.
You know, siwezi danganya.
Okay.
That's a no.
Okay.
Yeah.
We know about mental health.
Yes.
And we know about what causes mental health, and we know how to mitigate the extent of mental health. Would we still ignore the pain of those people that don't speak up, or those people who we think they don't fit in within our circles?
Oh, nice. That's a very good question. We shouldn't ignore them. We shouldn't ignore their pain. And actually, if you are going through that, you are the one who understands the magnitude of that pain. We might tell you, I understand you, I feel you, and I might be true. But you are the one who understands the kind of how deep it goes. The best thing is to journey or to walk with the journey with this kind of a person. At the end of the day, you want to foster what? Resilience. You want to foster this person to, for example, you can open up to him. Yeah. For example, if at all maybe you find this friend of yours, he's going through something, but he hasn't ever maybe opened up to you, but you can see from the look of things, the way you assess him or her, he isn't okay. You can tell him maybe your lived experience. You can share just a story on how maybe you went through a certain situation and how you are here. So to him, it will look as a testimony. So he'll be like, if Timo, you went through this and you lived it, you went through those milestones and they don't define you, then I feel safe around you because I'll open up, because to some extent you'll become like my mentor. Because I'll be like, okay, I'm stuck here. How can I do it?
Because
the moment
we've been vulnerable.
Exactly. The moment you become vulnerable, the moment you open up, the moment you don't shelf yourself in those thoughts. Be open up, be free, relax. And at times, most of the people, when you go to the sessions, you find people start to open up maybe in the third session. And maybe you have 8 sessions.
Because they've started feeling comfortable.
Exactly.
That session.
Other people can open up maybe during the first session.
The first session, because they were more vulnerable. If you find people opening up at the first session, they were at the ticking point. Yes. They were just waiting. Yes. They were like, if I don't find this, then I'm done. It's nice that you've brought that. And one might ask, as a man, how can I support a fellow man with these mental health issues? But the person that I'm supporting doesn't speak up. How can I support him?
So that's why I'm saying today's session our podcast is so timely.
Ni mambo ya God.
So I think the day before yesterday, I was just checking another podcast, or it was on TikTok, just a small bit of it. This guy was saying he has, back then he went through something in his life. Then he realized, how can I be supportive also to my other people who are within my circle? Then he said, back then he could text his friend, hey, how are you? Are you okay? And you find people are lying. People are saying I'm okay, but they are not okay. So they came to an agreement. They said, the moment you see my text I've written, do you have 8 seconds? Just no, I'm not okay. So that's how they chat. So if at all, let's say we are friends, and truly we are. So if I text you, Tim, tonight, do you have 8 seconds? What will come to your mind?
I should
you
drop
will
everything.
know. Just say he's not okay.
He's not okay, so I drop everything.
Exactly, because within those 8 seconds, you have done. You have maybe changed my thoughts, my narrative, my perception, my ideologies. Because maybe I was attempting to do certain thing, but because we are using a methodology, or maybe it's like a coded, it's a code.
Or a non-verbal cue.
Exactly. Now you can be able to reciprocate or to understand what I mean. Like, do you have 8 seconds? Because before I tell you, oh, Timo, I'm not okay, things are not adding up, I don't have time for that. So you see, so you as a guy, you as a dude over there, it's about using different maybe techniques. It can be maybe using maybe like a phone call. Like, for example, maybe checking on your dude, you might feel like, hey, you'll feel like, hey, you are less of a man. Okay, once you feel less of a man, what will happen? Will you die?
You won't.
Will your maybe beards go away? You'll still remain the same.
The man,
Even when you're walking, people will see, this is a man, this is a guy walking, handsome.
It's actually
But actually, it is so it is in our mind. That's why we are saying, oh, people will see less of a man. You won't have maybe the breast. No,
you remain a man.
you'll remain a man.
Yeah, a stronger man at that.
Exactly. Actually, a stronger man, because the man that you are checking up to, maybe he has a family. This man, maybe he's the one who's gonna have kids. Maybe the kids will be the next president. Maybe his kids will employ your kids. Maybe you can see.
Yeah, I was talking to a Baba one day, and we were just talking. It seemed at the moment like it's a foolish idea, but as time went by, we realized it was not a foolish idea. So we asked each other, have you ever told your father I love you? You know, in the ghettos, you know the talks that goes there. A person tells you, mitambiaje mzai wangu nampenda. It doesn't make sense. And we came to a conclusion that it's really important to even tell your brother, niaje bro, I love you. The other day, we were joking with my brother. It was his birthday, and I traveled back home just to go and wish him a happy birthday.
Wow.
So I told him, like, I texted him because he wasn't really at home. He usually comes at home on weekends. So I texted him, like, just remember I love you, bro. And then he's like, hey, why are you really gay? But that makes me know that he has appreciated the message. Yeah. He's like, okay, it's okay. But he still has that narrative in mind, like, But you see, I've been exposed to these spaces. Yeah. So I don't feel even shy. You are told every day, like, this is a safe space. And the safe space allows you to be vulnerable. I feel like this is a timely conversation, and we need to keep it pushing. If you put up more petitions for him to come, then he'll come. Yeah, but thank you so much for coming. And I just have a kicker for our viewers. If you could change one thing about how the society views mental health and gender, what would that be? And now back to you to finish off. What is your advice to the people?
There is no health without mental health. The same way you're so focused about your physical health, focus also on your mental health. Call 1190 for free. You can receive mental health services for free.
I'll share the numbers. So let's be a generation that does meaningful engagement, a generation that changes. Each one teach one. Motivate each one and be shocked. For us, by us. Fubu. So, until next time, take care of your mental health, take care of your mind, and remember, your mind matters. And also, take care of yourself. Until next time, I've been your host with the most. They call me Timothy. See you in the future.
Cause no tear ever falls down, down, down. In your shoes, I feel sadness in your heart. Keep it inside, cause man